Hi, everybody. This is Nathan Myers here again, back with the Raises.com Top Capital Raiser Show. So today I'm joined by a pretty experienced guest. So Calvin Canyon Jr. He's been a real estate investor for over 33 years. He's a coach. He coaches investors, and he's an expert when it comes to BRRR, buy and hold, and with a new proprietary system of real estate investing called the Cash Flow Roadmap. So today I'm joined by Calvin, and we're going to have an in-depth conversation when it comes to real estate syndications and just how to master the game of real estate. So Calvin, great to meet you here.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure and honor to be here on your platform with all these wonderful, great people. Thank you. I greatly appreciate the opportunity.
I'm happy we met somehow. So, it all works out. So, I mean, I guess we'll give the audience an introduction. So perhaps you can walk through how you got started in real estate 33 years ago.
Absolutely. So my name is Calvin Cannon Jr. I am a full-time real estate investor. I've been investing in real estate for 33 years. I've done it very, very early in my life. Started off investing with starting with my first properties when I was going to college, Temple University in Philadelphia, PA. Just like a lot of college students, I was in college. I was trying to figure out my way, didn't want to stay in my parents' house with the rules and regulations, right? So I just wanted to get out. And how I stumbled on real estate was that I was filling out my college applications for a grant. Back then we was getting grant money for stipends of room and board, food, and books and things like that. So I filled out my stipend check, and it came late. So the semester ended, but then I got this check in the mail for $5,000. So I took this $5,000. It was during the summertime. Took the 5,000, and I bought a multifamily property, which was a duplex back in 1991 for $5,000. It was the greatest thing for me, right? I moved out of my parents' house. Didn't really get the real estate bug, but I just knew that I wanted my independency. This place was falling apart. The second floor didn't have no windows. The first floor, it wasn't the most habitable place to live at, but it was mine, and I loved it because I was on my own. Stayed there for about another year. I started up college again. A gentleman came along and saw me coming in and out of the house going to school, and he asked if I wanted to sell the property. Back then I'm like, I guess. So he was like, "Hey, I'll give you $60,000 for the property." Now I'm thinking to myself, like, I just paid 5,000 for it. I'm like, 60,000, that's a lot of money. So I listened to him, and I'm like, nah, whatever. So I went on to school, didn't really take him serious. 2 to 3 days later, the gentleman came back with a bag full of money, knocked on the door, had a paper. At that time, I didn't know what the paper was. Fast forward today, it was an agreement to sell, but I didn't know. So he gave me the bag of money. So sign this paper right here. I threw all my stuff, all my clothes in the bag. I left that same day. I took the bag of money, went to my mom's house. She looked at it. She was like, "Hey, where did you get this money from?" I'm like, all excited. I'm like, "Hey, we rich. $60,000. You can quit your job. I'm gonna take care of everything now." So my mom grabbed me, took me to the police station. Told the police that I came home with all this money. She didn't know where it came from, and she was scared. So I explained to the officer, the police department detectives, exactly what happened. They took me back to the property. The gentleman was there. He talked to me, showed me the agreement to sell, showed me all the paperwork and documents. And the detectives told my mom, "Hey, your son did a real estate transaction and he can keep the money." So at that point, I was excited. I moved back to my parents' house. I'm sitting on $60,000. I only paid $5,000 for the property. I just thought, this was the greatest thing ever, right? So that started my real estate journey. I took that money, I bought more real estate and more real estate, and I never looked back. I took a lot of lessons with real estate, but that was the first introduction for me getting started in real estate, was that experience for me.
That's amazing. How old were you when you got that, $60,000 check? How old were you?
17 years old. I was 17 years old. I thought I was rich. I thought that was just it. I wasn't going to work. No, I wasn't going to do anything. I just thought I was a millionaire because I didn't understand money. I didn't understand anything. I just know I had $60,000. So yeah, that was the most amount of money I've ever made at the age of 17. So it was a great feeling. Great feeling.
Yeah, I bet everything got brighter, and you saw rainbows and everything, at that point. That's crazy. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, so that journey, it took you to far places. So because in our discussion just right before this interview,
Mhm.
you're mentioning how you leverage certain strategies. So, but before we get into that, perhaps somebody who's 17 right now watching this, or somebody who is even who knows, in their 70s watching this.
Yeah.
What would you recommend to a new investor who wants
Mm.
to get into real estate like you have?
Absolutely. So that my first property was my best, but also the first lesson that I took in real estate too,
Mm,
because that particular property today is worth over 550,000. So had I had somebody, a coach, leader, or mentor that will help guide me to say, hey, don't sell that property. Hold on to it. Who cares about that money? Hold on to it. So I would tell somebody, if I had to talk to the younger me today, I would say, one, believe in yourself, right? Always believe in yourself and make sure that you're doing what you love to do. Two, find someone who's doing what you're trying to do and get very, very close to them. Coach, leader, mentor, whoever, somebody that you can watch, learn, and take notes from. I always say that there's three things that stop you from going further in real estate. Three things is money, time, and fear. Money, time, and fear. If you take a look at all the things that you buy, like when I was 17, I was buying, stuff that wasn't really relevant, right? I was young, just spending money. But if I got my hands around it, or if somebody told me, hey, don't go buying dumb stuff, save your money, right? The other thing is dedicate your time to your craft. Dedicate your time to what you want to do. Don't be a follower, be a leader. Forget about the clubs, forget about partying. Think about what does your future look like for you, right? Save your time. The one thing that you can never get back in life is time. You can lose all the money in the world, but as long as you got the time to recoup it, you can get it back. You can't get back time. And the last thing is never be afraid to follow your goals and your dreams. Don't let a 9 to 5 job captivate you into a hamster wheel where it takes away your goals and your dreams, right? I say all the time, like, how long are you going to allow your job to pay you to forget about your goals and your dreams? How much is your goals and your dreams worth to continue to work for somebody else? So if I had to talk to my 17-year-old self, I would have a job, but I would make sure that the same amount of hours I'm putting into a 9 to 5, I'm going to also put into myself and follow my goals and dreams. It doesn't have to be real estate, it can be whatever it is. Just follow your goals and dream and don't listen to naysayers. Continue to keep pushing forward.
I totally agree. Like I'm living the advice that you recommend. So I couldn't agree more to anyone watching this if you just, heed his advice because it's something that I'm living. It's something that I've seen a lot of people live, and I totally agree. And especially the one where you can't get your time back, because don't let anyone, as he said, uh, you know, put a carrot in front of your head and get you to chase a hamster wheel. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
totally agree on that. So when it comes to new investors, we
Yep.
discussed offline how some people can get stuck in kind of another hamster wheel of chasing, private money lenders, chasing investors, and they're kind of in a back and forth. So can you just walk through perhaps, a few common pitfalls that, people fall in when they start to get into some real estate investing?
Absolutely. So if I was a new investor right now today and I had to come up with a strategy and a plan on how to be successful, the first thing I'm going to do is learn what programs are out there that can help me catapult and move forward in real estate, right? So most people say, hey, house hack, which is a great strategy, right? You can buy a multifamily property, you can go through FHA, 3.5% down. You can go through NACA, which is a free program that helps you buy your first piece of property as well. You can do a commercial loan, which is almost 3 to 5% down, right, as your first property. I always say this, don't buy the house that you want, buy the house that you need, right? Buy the house that you need. A lot of times we go after this, big house, white picket fence, 2,500, 3,000 square foot, right? And then later in life, we say, oh, I want to be an investor.
Hmm.
But now you have this high overhead of mortgage because you chose the house that you wanted instead of the house that you need. Allow the house that you need to supply the house that you want, right? So, and the other thing is, so many times we chase different things, different scenarios of money, right? We say, the last 2 years during the pandemic, we all got caught up into this, the fast money era, right? 0% credit cards and no doc loans and funding and all this different stuff that a lot of people, they told you how to get money, they showed you how to get money, but they never taught you money management, right? They never taught you money management. So you have all these funds. You say you want to be a real estate investor, but you don't even know how to move the money around, right? So one strategy that we teach is information without instructions is dangerous. So you want to make sure that information that you get the instructions to go with it, right? So you never, ever, ever want to rely on just going to the bank all the time for your down payment money. You can go to the bank for the actual acquisition, and the acquisition is holding the mortgage on the property.
Mm,
But if you need that 3%, 5%, 10%, 15 or 25% down for the property, if you're constantly going to a private lender or using OPM, which is other people's money, to get that down payment, you're going to start building up all of this debt and not understanding how to get this side of the debt down when you have mortgages on this side. So
mm,
one thing that we did was we did something called the cash flow roadmap, right? The cash flow roadmap is going to teach you how to take the money the first time, put it inside of the roadmap, the cash flow, whether if you're buying a property, flipping a property, and taking that money from that property and recycling the money back into real estate. And that's what we teach. If you're going to do this, you got to understand money management and know not to continue to go to the banks unless you need to for the acquisition, and not go to the bank for the down payments.
it makes a lot of sense. And when it comes to raising money for down payments, and um, you also mentioned another trap is some people that kind of get stuck on looking at a really good deal with bad terms. So
Yes.
I guess what's more important, the terms or the deal? And can
Yeah.
you walk through that and some of the misconceptions there?
Yeah. So a lot of times when people learn real estate, we always talk about the numbers, right? You
Yeah.
have to go in with the great going in number. Hey, if the price is right, the deal is right. That's not necessarily true. The price can be right, but if the terms are bad, it will put you in a situation that you can't get out of. And a perfect example of this is the era of 2008, when a lot of real estate investors lost their shirt. And the reason why is because some of the numbers were perfect, but they chose the wrong terms. See, lenders thought back then that the average person who stays in a house would only stay between 5 and 10 years. So they gave out something called a balloon payment term, where you, after 5 years, you had this gigantic balloon payment you have to have. Or after these 10 years, you had this gigantic balloon payment you had to pay. And
Mm,
they thought that investors or homeowners would automatically want to sell their home and they wouldn't have to make that large payment. Well, lo and behold, the market crashed. So
yeah.
the price and the value of your property dropped, and they weren't able to sell the home. So what did they do? They walked away from all these properties, right? Now all these properties went up for foreclosure. But had they had different terms, the number was right, the term was wrong. If they had different terms and said, you know what, I'm not going to take a 5 year balloon payment. I'm not going to take a 10-year balloon payment. I'm not going to overbid or over estate the property appraisal. Whatever the appraisal is, the appraisal is. I'm going to buy the property at what is appraising today. If you never did those things and had the right terms, 2008 probably would not have happened the way that it happened. So yes, terms are very, very important. It's not just the numbers, guys. You have to understand your terms in order to be successful in real estate.
Yeah, exactly. And when it comes to the cash flow roadmap,
Mhm.
we discussed and probably helped me understand a few things because we discussed, a 1031 exchange. We also discussed how, you put the buy before the refinance and sell. So maybe we can do a few things. Maybe, as we walk through, maybe just for the newer beginners, if you can explain the two ideas of buying before refi and selling and leveraging the
Absolutely.
1031 exchange within that strategy that you mentioned.
Absolutely. Inside the cash flow roadmap, we
Mm,
teach you something called buy, hold, flip until your flip cash flow supersedes your holds. And what this means is that anytime that you buy a property, right? A lot of new investors, they come right out and say, hey, I want to do the Burr method, right? Buy, rehab, right? Rent out, refinance, repeat. Everybody knows about the Burr method, and that's great if the numbers make sense for
yeah,
the Burr method.
yeah,
But there are other strategies that you can utilize besides the Burr method. The Burr method should not be your first strategy as a new investor. The first thing you should do as a new investor is, for me, I would recommend is to buy a property to flip the property. Here's the reason why. If your first property you buy, you fix it up, you put it on the market, you sell it, you take the proceeds from that sale. Let's just hypothetically throw a number out there and say you make $50,000 off the sale, $30,000, $40,000, whatever it is. If you have a $50,000 profit off of the sale of this property, you can take that, split it in half, take 50% of that back into the flip again, take the other half of that, and now you can do your burn. because now you're creating your own bank. You're becoming your own financial provider in order for you to do the BRRRR. So you don't have to take as much equity out of the BRRRR system, right? A lot of people take equity out, 75, 80% cash out refi, and you lower your cash flow because you're taking too much equity out. If you use my system where you buy the property, flip it, then go buy your BRRRR. Now you have extra proceeds to go buy another property and flip it again, where now you're becoming the cash flow bank, where you're depending on yourself. Now, some may say, well, hold on, coach. If I do that, what about capital gain tax? I'm selling a property, it's profit. So now I have capital gain tax. So you have two options you can do. The first option is when you sell the property, you can always take the profit and do a 1031 exchange. What that means is that you're taking the money of the profit and you're going to buy another property of equal or more value, and you're able to carry over that profit of income into the new property. That's one strategy. The second strategy is when you buy the property, fix it up to sell it, you can also do a refi, take that money out of the equity because you raised the ARV. ARV, guys, is after repair value. So let's say that you buy a property for 100,000, you put another 50,000 inside the property. Let's say the ARV of the property is 275,000. So now you're going to take 70% of the 275, and then you're going to take the balance of the mortgage, which is probably 100,000. The difference between the mortgage and what you got on the cash out refi is now your profit. Let's hypothetically say that profit would be $60,000. Now you're having $60,000 that's tax-free money. You don't have to do the 1031 exchange. You're not being taxed on it because the $60,000 came off of a loan of the cash out refi before you did the flip. Sorry, guys, that's the cash out refi before you did the flip. Then you place the property on the market to be sold. So now you took the equity out, you put it in your pocket, you sold the property. Now your profits and proceeds at the sale will not be 50, 60,000. It may be 5,000. It may be 6,000. But then that's when you are going to be taxed on that dollar amount versus the 50, 60,000. And again, you take that profit that you made, split it in half, take half to put back into buying more properties, and then the other half, you're going to take and do the BRRRR method once again.
Makes a lot of sense, and this clarifies it even post the private chat we had right before this, because one thing that investors hate is people that are desperate. And if you don't manage your money well using Calvin's system,
Absolutely.
you're not going to have enough. You're going to go to these people desperate. And one thing is that if you follow a system like that, where you manage your cash flow properly and you actually have, your own money you can use, then you're not going to, people can smell desperation. They can smell the hunger. So I love
Absolutely.
that idea of, like, using the system to make sure that you split things half and half of the BRRRR and the flip, so that you're not just like over leveraging yourself and chasing investors if you don't need to. So,
Yep.
um, your younger self.
Yes.
You mentioned before that if you were to talk to your younger self, go after your dreams and take action. Time is short, and you said all these things. What will you tell your younger self in regards to things that would change your life? And I guess the bigger picture is, what's the one thing that changed your life when it came to getting into real estate in the first place?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I learned very, very early with real estate is a lot of people have to determine what is my number? What's my quit number, right?
Mhm.
What's the number that's going to help me disrespectfully, respectfully fire my boss? What's that number, right? So I always tell people, everybody juggles that number. Oh, just one more property, I'm gonna quit. One more tenant, I'm gonna quit. One more flip, I'm gonna quit. You have to stop putting all these different demands in front of you and take an easy equation on how to figure it out. And I'm going to give you that equation. If you take your monthly expenses, not the expenses that anything that's making money for you. In other words, not your rental property expenses. If you're doing a business, not your business expense. I'm talking about your personal monthly expenses. Let's hypothetically say your monthly expenses is $5,000, right? My home personal mortgage, my car note, my insurance, medical, whatever it is, it totals up to $5,000 a month. You're going to take that $5,000 a month, times it by two. 5,000 times two is $10,000. That is your minimum cash flow goal. Once you hit your minimum cash flow goal, you should be leaving your 9 to 5. It's really that simple. Half of that is going to take care of whatever your monthly expenses are. The other half is the money you're going to use to reinvest. Now, the average household salary is anywhere between $50,000 to $70,000, depending on if it's a single salary or double salary. The average, right? Let's just hypothetically say that's about $3,500 to $4,000 a year, maybe 5,000, 55 a year. That means that you don't need all of these properties to hit your cash flow goal. See, a lot of people think that, oh, I got to have all of these doors. Oh, I got to have 100 doors. It's not about the quantity of a door, it's the quality of the door. You
Mm.
don't need 100 rental properties to be able to be successful in real estate. You need quality cash flow. So if you had a property that you cash flowed $1,000 a door and you had 10 of those properties, that's your $10,000 a month. If you had $500 a door, now you need 20 properties. That's still $10,000 a month. That extra cash flow that you're bringing in, 10K a month, that's after everything. That's after you paying your mortgages, that's after you taking out your CapEx, and you still have a cash flow. Once you hit that number, you have to now say to yourself, hey, I have what I'm looking for. I can now take the 40 hours a week that I'm putting in my job and now put that 40 hours plus more inside of my business. The first time that I left my job, I worked for corporate America for 20 plus years. And I'm a fan of 9 to 5ers. Believe me, I love it. But you have to make sure the 9 to 5 is your first private investor. My job was my silent partner to get started in real estate. So after I accumulated more real estate, I eventually hit my minimum cash flow goal and I left my job. So the first year that I left my job, I doubled my annual salary because I put more emphasis on myself and put more energy and time into my business. So
Yeah.
if I had to go back and tell somebody younger me, stay focused, understand what is your minimum cash flow goal for you to disrespectfully, respectfully fire your boss.
See, and that ties into the fear, right? Of the mistake of the, I guess, the three things you need in real estate. The last one being like courage, and I guess resisting fear, because that'll hold you back.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, no, this is actually, it's hitting hard, because what he's saying, if you're in the audience, you're listening, or you're listening to a recording, this is something that I've lived and I'm still living every day, and I see people live this day by day. Like it's not a big deal. So but no, I definitely think that somebody like you should kind of be in the pockets of other people that want to learn how to actually take action. They need to get inspiration from somebody like you. So
Absolutely.
like how can somebody, if somebody wants to cut down the amount of time that they're wasting, or if they want to get to that goal a bit faster, how can
Yep.
somebody get in touch? How can somebody do business with you, or just learn
Absolutely.
about, if they want to get some advice from you?
Yeah, I tell people all the time, the best way to success is the fast track, not cutting corners, but the
Mm.
fast. You want to be with somebody who's been in the business and doing where you're trying to go. The best way to contact us, guys, we're on all social media platforms. Calvin Cannon Jr. There's no gimmicks, no tricks in the name. That's my real name. You can look us up. You can follow us on all social media platforms. Go watch our content. Go on our YouTube. Go on our Instagram page. Watch the content that we do. And when you feel comfortable enough to say, you know what, it's time for me to take this to the next level, then you reach out to us. We have several different programs that you can sign up for. We can get you in, get you started, get you the information that you need. The number one thing that helped me in my real estate career is understanding that I needed a coach, leader, and a mentor, somebody who could just say, hey, I did this before. You don't want to go this route, you want to go this route. And here's the reason why, right? One of the things I said earlier was information without instructions is dangerous. You just can't find anybody online because it sounds good, because they're driving a Lambo, or they're driving a Rolls Royce. That's lifestyle. That's not actually telling you or teaching you the business. So you want to make sure the information that you get the instructions with it so you can implement the instructions to be successful. So make sure you guys always remember that when you're looking for a coach, leader, or mentor, find somebody who's actively doing what you're trying to do.
Yeah, and I think Patrick Bet David is a really good entrepreneur. He mentioned that the quality of the information is based directly on the closeness that the person has with the action and getting the results. You've already
Absolutely.
done the action, you got the results. You're not somebody who knows somebody. You're the guy
Right.
getting the actual result, which is what people want. So, and you're most active on Instagram, is it correct?
So yep, Instagram is I'm on Instagram every day. I'm posting every day, giving information every day. I'm going live. You can DM me. We answer all DMs. We speak to people in the comments. You will never have to feel like you're talking to the secretary. Just tap in with us, and we're open and we're willing to help any and everybody that's ready to get started in real estate.
Nice. And that being said, any last thoughts before we wrap this call up?
One thing I would just like to say to everybody is I want to thank you for allowing me on your platform. It's been an honor and a pleasure. And people, no matter if it's real estate or whatever you're trying to do not let anybody hinder your goals and your dreams. Stay focused, stay active, and make sure that you're true to you. Make sure that you're true to you. You can always get money back, right? If you invest and it doesn't go right, you can always get the money back. What you can't get back is the time. You don't want to be that person that was should have, would have, could have when you can right now get activated, take action, and hit your goals to be successful in the businesses that you want to do.
I totally agree. Let's end it on a high note. So listen, everybody. This has been Calvin, and then this call is this is one of my favorite calls so far. I'll just say it right now. This is one of my favorite calls I've been on so far in terms of the inspiration and the energy. I feel a lot of honesty and a high vibration when Calvin speaks, a lot of conviction. He sounds like somebody who has done the work. So reach out to Calvin. That's at Calvin Canyon Jr. On his social media. And Calvin, it's been great to have you on the show.
It's great to have you as well. Thank you. I greatly appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.